Hello and welcome to Comic Solving Problems. I'm Stephen Allen.
And I'm Eric McElroy. Good evening.
Good evening. Welcome along to this, one of your 2 episodes this week of the comedy show where we look at the problems in the news. We look at the problems that you send to us and we darn well sort them, or at least die trying, or something like that. Incredibly manly. International Men's Day. Nice. Already scoring points. If you're watching the show, here's the thing. Get subscribed to the YouTube channel. That way you'll never miss one. You can see all the old ones. And right now, start the show is a really good time to share that link on your social media. Spread the word about this bad boy. Let's get a movement or something like that. Let's get a surge. I'm using words that I don't really understand how they apply to this. As you watch the show, you can send messages in the message boards. If you get on that YouTube, that's the very good place for them. And also, if you're enjoying it at any point, you think, yeah, I'll buy these guys a drink. We will keep reminding you about the Ko-fi link all the way through. Ko-fi.com/comic solving problems is a nice way of stopping us from starving to death.
Yes. Although I have to say, Steve, we do have a few people we need to thank who pre-purchased some tickets from Crack Comedy tonight. So nice. Thank you very much. Although you can always give us more.
Oh, don't go overboard.
Not at the start.
Yeah, wait till you've seen the show. Ooh. So, look, I think if everyone's ready, if everyone's braced, we'll get around. I know we've already got some messages coming through. Keep them coming through. We'll chat more about those in a bit. But I think it's time, Eric, for you to crack on and solve us a problem.
This is a problem, Steve. It doesn't just affect you. It doesn't just affect me. It affects everyone in the world. How do you make Donald Trump happy?
Oh, yeah. Tricky.
Do you know how to do that? And not in a Stormy Daniels kind of way. We're not going there. That's for a story later on in the show. Because Donald Trump doesn't like the results of the election, Steve. It's been rigged against him, all of these kinds of things. He's got 5 states now. He's trying to flip so that he can get them back to him having the second term that he thinks he deserved. Not that anyone wanted, but him and Putin, I suppose. So he's decided the best way to do it is to hire the legal genius that is Rudy Giuliani to head up the team, partly because all of the other lawyers have quit. And so Giuliani's come out just recently. He's been saying that there's fraudulent votes, that there's dead people voting. Basically, Trump is looking at Rudy Giuliani as the man who is going to save the Trump second term. And you could see here in the hour-and-a-half long press conference how Giuliani was holding up.
Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, Nevada, and Arizona.
He's literally melting in front of our eyes.
What was that?
We don't know if it was coming out of his brain, out of his hair, if the two things are related. If you know what it's like when you do the spray on hair and you don't let it dry.
It looks like, I mean, those juices are not running clear, so he's not done yet.
I mean, I don't know if that's is that a COVID thing? Is that a COVID thing?
Everything's a COVID thing now.
Just starts seeping out of your pores. Like even COVID doesn't want to be with Rudy Giuliani right now. So basically, he spent I think the conference went on for an hour and a half trying to make legal arguments, him and the other lawyers, about how the election was stolen. And I mean, here's his legal argument.
The vote was 75, 80% for the Democrat. You take away any number of those, and that 20,000 lead disappears.
Yeah, he's right. Basically, if you look at the areas of the various states that were heavily Democratic and heavily supported Joe Biden, and you look at those, especially the big urban cities, and you take away their votes, Donald Trump wins.
Sound. Solid. Can't argue with it.
Can't argue with that. Can you? I mean, that's definitely the way it is. Now, you have to think, like Rudy, I mean, he's been a lawyer for a long time. He was mayor of New York City. Where is he drawing from? Where does he get his legal expertise? What inspires him?
Did you all watch My Cousin Vinny? You know the movie? It's one of my favorite law movies.
I hate when I agree with these people. My Cousin Vinny's a great movie. Now I agree with Rudy Giuliani. That's worse than agreeing with Piers Morgan.
It is.
Well, that's tough. Who would you least want to agree with?
It's a difficult one. Although Piers Morgan tends not to sweat whatever kind of weird gravy that was. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, but yeah.
Oh, it is almost Thanksgiving. Maybe that's gravy. Giuliani's been indulging. He wasn't the only one that spoke at this conference. We also heard from another Trump lawyer, Sidney Powell.
To know right now that we will not be intimidated American patriots are fed up with the corruption from the local level to the highest level of our government, and we are going to take this country back.
I am sorry, but Sidney Powell does not sound like a high-powered lawyer to me. She sounds like a woman who's complaining because she got the wrong salad dressing on her salad and she can't eat chopped onions. Everything she says is at that level. I mean, Jesus, that makes it just tense listening to her. The thing is, what do they really want? What is the bottom line?
We have enough evidence without that to overturn this election.
There we go. Overturning the election. They just said the quiet part out loud. That's the worst secret coup ever. It's like, what are we going for? Now, where is the, because it's very important, if you want to challenge these votes, where do you get the evidence for that? And we know where Rudy is keeping the evidence. No wonder he's sweating.
He's having a good look for it down there, isn't he?
Good dig for it there. So there we go. I think, having watched the press conference today and see them lay out the legal case, I think Joe Biden's going to be the next president of the United States.
Can I be honest? I love how long this is dragging on now. For a while, I was thinking like, oh, it's boring, but now it's just the best entertainment. I don't want it to end. Do some more court cases. Do another recount. I want to watch him lose again. It's good.
It's never going to end. It's never going to end. I mean, it does scare me because these people, you know, I mean, Joe's going to be 20th of January, 20th of January, 20th of January, 20th of January. That's all. So there we go. That's breaking news. That press conference only happened 3 hours ago. So look at that. Solving the problems as they happen, folks.
Excellent. We can't even solve the problem of how to stop Rudy Giuliani sweating.
Touching himself.
Brown. Yeah, I mean, that touching himself. Not sure that is a problem. It could be the highlight of his career. Right, let's get into some of the messages. If you're wherever you're watching this, you can send us some messages. But there's the YouTube thing on the bottom. That's another good way. James, here we go. Gravesham Finest. Yes, the Gravesham Massive. Broadcasting half this screen, broadcasting live from Gravesend.
Wow, there's nothing depressing about that.
Oi.
And Seattle's Finest right here. Woo! Olympia beer. It's in the water. Thanks.
Yeah.
There we go.
Chris says, live from the North Kent Riviera and outer reaches of southwest London. This is, I mean, this studio is exactly betwixt the River Thames and the Thames and Medway Canal. All of the waterworks that you could hope for.
Wow. Nothing like being near a canal. And that is vaguely specific about where I live, which I don't like. I don't want to advertise where I live. I like you guys, but I don't trust you. What else? Using the finest internet connection that two gerbils and a wheel can generate. It does feel like that sometimes.
Yeah. I think, although so far today, touch wood, it's staying.
Knock on wood.
They should be twinned, quality place both. Yeah, do you know what? We should look into that. Try and see if we can get where you're living twinned with where this is broadcast from.
Oh, yeah.
And it would just feel like it really brings the show together. I quite like that.
Definitely. Here's a comment from Britt. How to make Trump happy. Practice your Russian and make sure you're fully hydrated.
Oh.
Yeah. Ooh. Maybe that's why he struggles when he takes a drink. It's that double-handed thing.
Yeah, the way he should not be allowed to be president just because of that. It's just, it's the creepiest thing I've ever seen. And I've seen a lot of creepy things. You go back and watch Tuesday's show, and there was a video of me doing some sort of 4-part harmony thing. It was the creepiest thing ever. Go back and enjoy it. That's all I can say.
And for all of our previous shows, if you don't, I mean, I'm sure you want to watch all of them, but if you want to go to a specific clip in the comments, we have done it where we've tagged everything so that you can go immediately to a section. And normally it's just whatever Steve's story is and then my story. So it's 4 or 5 tags per show. But for Tuesday's show, I did do an extra tag, Steve, just for you.
Did you?
With creepiest 9 to 5 ever. So people can go straight to it. So you don't, I mean, I'd love for you to watch all of Tuesday's show, but if you just want to jump to that bit, it's labeled for you.
Yeah, if you just want to terrify yourself. Brilliant. So we'll get into more messages. You can keep them coming through. Subscribe and message on the YouTube. And if you're enjoying the show, you'd chuck a bit of money our way. There's the Ko-fi link down the bottom. More on that still to come then. But I've got a problem that I reckon we can try and solve.
Oh,
This is, how do we fix the problem of the focus of the British government? Because I'm starting to think they're focusing on the wrong things.
No.
There's a lot of this COVID going on. It feels like that should be the biggest problem that we need to be dealing with right now. Meanwhile, today we heard that the government are going to be agreeing a £16 billion increase in defence spending. Some of it is going to go on Space Command. Yeah, it's time to battle those aliens. Because it feels like this is also the summer of Marcus Rashford pointing out that kids are going starving. Many of us are jobless now thanks to some of the rules that have come in. And there's the threat from Rishi Sunak that we'll have to pay more tax because we had the audacity of paying tax in the first place, but still need to be punished for it. So there are many other things that maybe that should be the focus. And people are upset about all this money going to defence right now. It seems like a strange time for it. So let's get into this. To find out more, I'm joined by a government minister now. Hello.
Hello, Steve.
People are upset that billions are going on a space project and you're letting kids go starving.
No, you're viewing it as if those two goals are somehow mutually exclusive. But they're not. In fact, our plans hope to tackle both.
How would that work?
We're developing a system whereby if we were to be attacked by some alien spacecraft, we can fire a starving child at it, thereby repelling the attack and reducing the number of starving children in the UK by 1.
That's just heartless.
No more heartless than normal.
You make a good point. Thank you for joining us. So, look, that's the interesting situation of all the money seems to be going on their defence project. And yeah, they are still focusing on what's happening with COVID because we now hear that they're coming up with plans on what we can do at Christmas. Everyone seems to be so excited that there might be some Christmas freedoms. It might mean you get to see your family. Experts say it means people will die. Well, great. I don't understand why people think this is that important. Like, just sit out one Christmas. It's one Christmas where you don't get to do absolutely everything you'd love, but you might save lives. And I know a lot of people say, well, lockdowns don't work. They just kick the can down the road. Have you noticed? Further down the road seems to have about 4 different cures now. There are 3 different vaccines. There's a nasal spray from Birmingham that stops the COVID, and mouthwash is suddenly becoming useful again. So if we could delay it until we get all of these vaccines and a new shipment of Listerine, then delaying it's actually worthwhile. Just saying. It does bother me that people prioritise their own. Oh, I'm not going to get to have exactly the Christmas I want. Oh, it's just disgraceful. So what I thought we'd do to try and make things more festive, but get that message across, I thought we'd do some Christmas poetry. And for that, got my little book of poetry, which I've written.
Okay.
Christmas poetry. Some Christmassy music in the background, just to make it work. Here we go. 'Twas the night before Christmas, when all round the house, if anyone coughed, they'd best cover their mouth. The luggage was packed and wiped down with care, in the hope that we'd visit our family somewhere. The children woke up from their beds in the attic. Let's hope that they're healthy and not just asymptomatic. We're off for a day to see distant rellies, for stuffing and chocolate and crap on the tellies. We've had months apart, in lockdown, alone. Now it's time to nick loo roll from a relative's home. We'll eat from the table, drink ales from the cask, which is tricky to do when you're still wearing your mask. The kiddies drink cola or a small can of Tizer after being slathered in lots of hand sanitizer. It's hard to stay distant when we want a hug, but that's when our family could give us the bug. All this for one day of having no rules. We'll be back in lockdown till we're April Fools. If you must visit family and go round their place, say Happy Christmas to all. Hands, face and space. The magic of Christmas. Get rid of that. So, yeah.
Oh, can't leave the music on now?
No. We can put the message things if you want to get chatting. It just bothers me that people are so, what? I'm not going to have exactly the Christmas I want.
Yeah. I don't understand it, but you're speaking to someone. My wife and I both left America specifically so that we don't have to spend Christmas with our families anymore. So
that's the thing. I mean, if we can
and I know my family watched
in,
this, and you know what?
They'll have worked it out by now. This is what I don't get. If the restrictions are in, it means we have an excuse to not have to buy gifts at Christmas. There won't be any pressure for big gifts because the shops were closed. I want to buy gifts. The lockdown should carry on until, let's say, the 14th of February, just to make it easier on some of us. So I'm all for it. I don't know why people are getting so Christmassy about it.
A, not everybody celebrates Christmas. B, I mean, because the same problem is happening in America next week, because it's Thanksgiving, which is arguably a much better holiday than Christmas, because it's a 4-day weekend. So,
okay.
and the Christmas Christ thing and whatever. But I mean, it's a big thing. There's a lot of people doing the same thing. Oh, I'm going to have my big Thanksgiving. And I think there's a state senator in Oregon who's defying a state order that's recommending people not have big gatherings and saying, no, we're going to have a super spreader. That's what we're having for Thanksgiving. What better way to demonstrate Thanksgiving? Anyway, we'll talk about Thanksgiving next week. But yeah, I don't get it.
It should be the other way around. It should be that even if the government says, do you know what, you can do whatever you want, there should be a natural moral imperative in us all to think, let's see fewer of our elderly relatives this year, just so we don't end up seeing fewer of them all the time in the future.
But there'll be a vaccine in 4 months, Steve.
Yeah, but it's not 4 months till Christmas.
Yeah, but if I kill off Granny now, I'm further up the queue to get the vaccine.
Yeah. Okay. You're making some good points.
Should we look at the comments here and see what people think? I have to say that was much less creepy than the Dolly Parton bit on Tuesday, and I think you should animate that. Remember, you've done some animation in the past. I think you should record that Christmas song, and that could be like a Christmas top jingle thing.
Yeah. I mean, the original plan, not that you need to know behind the scenes too much, the original plan was to film myself sat here with a book, reading it and have it all edited wearing a big jumper. But it's been busy today. Yeah, it was going to be all that pipe and all that crap.
Still time. Christmas is still yet to come.
Yeah. Don't think I could be bothered. Mark says, Pam Ayres, eat your heart out. Oh, I should have done it in that accent. Right you are. 'Twas the night before Christmas, when all through the house. That would have been good. I went more Benny Hill than Pam Ayres there, but it's close.
Yeah, that's fine. It all sounds the same to me. Let's see, what else have we got here? Not as creepy as the surprise Todger appearance.
Good point. Go back and watch Tuesday's show if you'd like to see live penis action.
Oh, yeah. Yep, sorry, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Superman's penis wasn't as memorable as we would think it was. What else have we got there?
James says, love the canal, reopen it. I don't know, actually, on this issue. I know this is very niche, Gravesend-based commentary. I like the fact that it's no longer a navigable canal, because it's closed off. I read the history of the Thames Medway Canal. It took way longer to build than they planned, and by the time they eventually got it open, someone had gone and invented trains, and it meant there was no need for a canal down there anymore. It was bought by some of the rail companies, which is why now, even if you reopened it, it wouldn't go all the way to anywhere, wouldn't even make it to Rochester. So now I quite like it. It's all natural.
I think that we should scrap solving the world problems and just tell stories about canals that aren't used anymore.
Yeah.
Can we do a whole channel on that?
It's gone back to nature. It's been rewilded. It's quite nice.
Can you do it in the accent that you did, talk about the canal in the...
Right, you are. I like the canal. It's the best one by far. Brit says, hopefully UK government is secretly sending Trump into outer space so he can get his deep tan direct from the sun, hopefully actually in the sun. He'd love it. It's the best.
There's no extradition treaty on the sun. So he'd be safe. He'd be safe there. What else have we got? Let's see. I think we caught up. No,
Brit says, go on. Have you got one there to do?
Yeah, I think it's Brit as well. As long as we can extend normal Advent calendars to eat little bits of chocolate every day until we get to a safe Christmas. Yeah, I don't know if they do decade-long Advent calendars, Brit, but I think that's what we're looking at.
That would be stockpiling, wouldn't it? Having all the food, have a daily portion, a ration of food every day.
Yep. Right, before the next problem, Steve, you're going to pop up the Ko-fi thing. If you're enjoying what you're seeing and you'd like to buy us a drink or 4 or 5 or whatever to help us get through non-Christmas, because I still don't buy the kids gifts.
Yeah, you got to do that, yeah.
It's just still. Although we did have our first successful goal on Ko-fi, because that's one of the things you do on Ko-fi, set goals, and our first goal was to get Steve some new flat cap hats, and I'm pleased to say that we achieved that goal. It was only 13 pounds.
Yeah.
So
I love how you can tell that you're so American and definitely not a Northern English bloke, because you call them flat cap hats.
What would you call it?
Flat caps.
What's a flat cap hat? It's not
a cap.
It's not a baseball cap.
No, it's a flat cap. It's the original. It's the proper one.
Yeah.
My northern people. We're so proud. Thank you to everyone who contributed towards the Flat Cap Fund. We'll have to think of something that Americans like. It'll be a gun fund.
I would like a new Mariners baseball cap, so maybe we'll put that on there. It's more expensive than the flat cap hat.
How dare you? How dare you?
Right. This is a big problem, Steve. And I think one that probably affects many of our viewers. And it's the problem of an orgasmic cult.
Big pardon?
Yep, exactly. I saw it. It was, of course, a story in the Daily Mail Online, as it would be. Here's the headline that caught my eye. Is orgasm cult run by messianic female leader where women were stroked by men during wellness classes is under investigation by the FBI amid prostitution claims after staff were told to have sex to secure business. Wow. There's a lot to unpack in there.
There's also the fact it seems to be called One Taste. I've just noticed that.
It's from California, of course. I mean, practicing orgasmic meditation was like their theme. They call it OM, which I thought was just being self-employed. In case you don't know, working from home. Well, everybody works from home now, so everybody, I think, is now an OMer. They talked about it being like yoga, but of course, without the pants. Gwyneth Paltrow is a fan of the old OM. She's talked about it on Goop, which I don't know if I want to combine my orgasmic meditation with Goop, but whatever. Basically, they did include on the Daily Mail article a little video about exactly what the positive side of an OM is. Here she explains.
What happens in the practice is a woman takes off her pants, her trousers, she lies down, and her partner, who could be a man or a woman, sits next to her and for 15 minutes lightly and deliberately strokes her clitoris.
I think the woman's getting the best end of the stick on that one. As it
No,
were.
don't use a stick. It's just rude.
I don't know. Does that sound like something you'd want to participate in, Steve?
I like the idea of, I like the word deliberately in there, as opposed to kind of accidentally falling over. Oh, sorry, I touched you. Yeah, deliberately is the better way to do it.
Well, I mean, most men can't deliberately find the clitoris on their best day. So that's the idea. Is it's a 15-minute dedicated. It sounds quite nice. If you're a couple that's trying to spark things up a little bit, you spend that time together. You concentrate. Concentrate, I suppose. Let's see. We've got a clip of actually what it looks like. The result.
Oh God.
That's, of course, not what it looks like. That was Meg Ryan famously demonstrating what a fake orgasm looks like. They did include in the video, in the actual news story, a clip of what a true OM experience is. It's pretty amazing.
Wow.
I've never made a woman come that hard.
I'll have what she's having.
A slight itch on a big toe. I mean, we should have done that in slow motion. Let's play it back in slow motion. Apparently, the reason why it's called a cult is because they were charging people to learn OM between short sessions for $500 and then full weekends for $60,000. And there was pressure to push sales and that kind of thing. $60,000 to spend a weekend wanking. I mean, they're charging people for what is the most free thing on earth. Mm-hmm. Apparently, my favorite line in the story was that more than 300,000 people are considered to be practicing orgasmic meditation globally.
Probably right now.
Probably that's every second. But we do also know someone else who is part of the orgasmic cult, and we have that clip here. He was just practicing his religion.
Just OMing.
Just a little OMing.
Well,
There you go.
that was
It's
education.
not all about Trump, guys.
So when it comes to there was pressure to do whatever. Who were the people providing the service? Were they providing blokes to do the touching?
I don't know. I was mostly just watching the video and then had a wank. But no, I think it was about selling the courses, and then sometimes staff were involved in the deliberate touching, and then that's where it crossed the line into potential prostitution because there's money being exchanged for the touch. So, because I'm sure some blokes were like, well, probably the women came in with their husbands specifically because their husbands don't know how to do the deliberate touching. So they said, can you just help him out here? And that's where things spiraled out of control.
But
which is what you want from the OM.
If the blokes they'd just be stood there looking at it going, yeah, his problem is you can't get the parts, you see. What you got there is you got a woman. and then just be staring at it and then talking about football.
Yep. Just put your phone on vibrate mode. You'll sort it out.
Into the
right,
comments.
Let's see if any of our viewers are experienced in OM. Let's see.
Probably right now. Let's have a look. Where do we start these ones from?
Where are these? I don't know. And yeah, make sure while we're looking at those, you can subscribe to the channel, share people, tell people about it, and.
So there's a discussion about the flat caps. Mark says they're proper Dibner, as in Fred Dibner. I'm Northern, so it's my heritage that I get to wear them.
Dibner. I'm going to have to Google that as well.
Fred Dibner, there was TV shows in the 80s of basically him being involved in, when they knock down a chimney, but they do it using explosions.
Yep.
Stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
There we go. They wore a hat.
He had a flat cap on all the time, yeah.
Okay.
James says, is this McEnroe type fella, McElroy, is that the person that does the little shouty voices in your wonderful Radio Kent sketches? I wish. They're slightly decommissioned these days. So that character who would be on the, doing the voices in the background, never to be heard of again. Such a shame. No wonder that today Twitter had hashtag defund the BBC trending for most of it, because my sketches have gone, haven't they?
That's what it is. It's not because of some song they can't say swear words anymore. Why can't we swear, people? Let's see. All the men are going to be wondering where their wedding ring is gone. Yeah. Well, because they sold it to pay for the classes.
Yeah.
$500. They must have seen them coming.
No, beautiful.
Nice, thank you. That was Navman. Well done. Anything else in there, Steve?
Mark says the video has to be fake, as if men know where the clitoris is. Surely they'd X mark the spot, for that much money. Get Google Maps involved. This practice could change the world. Yes, it could. All the women could be walking around weak at the knee, slightly dazed and sweaty. Yeah, nothing wrong. Although I tell you what, you don't want to be doing that. You'd never get in anywhere if they check your temperature. During this
Maybe that's why
COVID
Rudy
thing.
was sweating.
Maybe.
Right. So there's the Ko-fi link. You've subscribed to the YouTube channel. Do what you got to do. Steve, we got one more problem for today.
Yes, just time to fit in one more problem. It's how do you solve the problem of men? Because I mentioned this because it is International Men's Day, which I realise sounds more like what would be written on a ticket for Wimbledon, but it's not. It's an actual thing. And in the past, it's been the kind of day where social media would spend all of its time going, why do men need a day? But 2020, we're starting to realise it's just good for everyone to have a day, because life is filled with many problems. So there's been more of a serious taking of International Men's Day. As we can see in the Telegraph, they say it's the unsung event which champions men's rights around the world. We can see also the serious coverage in The Sun, which went with the headline, "The Randy roller coaster is the International Men's Day sex position. They'll give your man the ride of his life."
Is that how you have to read The Sun?
The more I read that headline, the more... Oh, God. Did that not... It just really... What? The Randy roller coaster? What, you queue for hours and then throw up afterwards? Wait. It's just everything about that bothers me. But anyway, International Men's Day, there's a lot of issues. There's a lot of issues in the news that men need to deal with, and this didn't help. Apparently now, testicle pain is a sign of COVID. Oh, what? Come on! Of all the days to release this as a news story. Apparently, a Turkish man had issues with a swollen testicle. So apparently, if you've got big swollen testicles, you better get yourself checked out. Damn, I'm never going to leave that test center. Ooh. I think that's what you have to do.
Can you drive into the test center and say that? Do you have a fever?
Driving? I can't even walk in.
Right here.
Boom.
Right here.
Walking center. You best call it a waddling center with ease. Boom. I don't know what we're doing. But so there's so that's all the news that's going on, and this is the thing about International Men's Day. I actually think it is good, because what normally happens is someone takes the piss and goes, "What do men need it for?" And then someone will bring up the suicide rate. It's the go-to reference about why men should be maybe taken care of a little bit more. We do tend to kill ourselves an awful lot, but what happens is, this is my appreciation of the way the news story goes. Someone says International Men's Day, someone says male suicide rate, and the next sentence out of their mouth will be, because men don't talk about their feelings enough. Now, maybe could you just, maybe out of politeness, have a buffer sentence between talking about men's suicide rate and blaming them for it? Just a little breather. Just a pause. Maybe just check your watch before you go, men's fault. Give us some space. But I think it is right. We are meant to talk more about our feelings. And seeing as it is International Men's Day, we're meant to talk about our feelings. I thought I would do on the show talking about my feelings. Don't worry, there is a joke at the end of this. But it is serious because... don't worry. We're not going off brand. There'll be a silly joke at the end. But I think, we know we've got people who watch this who message in the message boards who actually are willing to talk about their feelings, and it's so good. So my feeling of 2020, a lot of people would have had it. Grief has hit a lot of us. My mum died right before this whole COVID thing. A few days before lockdown is when we had the funeral. And it was really horrible because she had Alzheimer's, Dad's got dementia. I was sat next to my dad with dementia at Mum's deathbed. He didn't know what was going on. For many years, I may well be dealing with the implications of what it means to have been sat there witnessing all that. And I wanted to have Dad at Mum's funeral. A lot of other people said he wouldn't understand what was happening because of the dementia, but it just seemed right. They'd been married for like 60 years. We can organise it so the guy can be there at his wife's funeral, whether he realises what's happening or not. And so we got there. It was the same crematorium that we went to for one of my sister's funerals 2 and a bit years previous to that. So it was already emotionally horrible. The pallbearers get the coffin out and they're walking in. And then there's my remaining sister and one of her kids walking behind the coffin. Then I walk in next to my other half. And then behind me is Dad with one of the carers from the care home who brought him along. And as we walked in, the music's playing, everyone's upset, and Dad suddenly shouts, "Let's all do the conga." Which was just... I've never laughed so much at anything in my life. When a situation needs the tension to be punctured by a joke, and I'm the professional comedian, I got nothing, but he's nailing it back there. So, I think there are stories that I don't know what the moral of the story is, whether it's something to do with the fact that you can find light even in the darkest times, or if you talk about stuff that's emotionally impactful, there's some good in there as well. But you know what? Yeah, that's my story, and I'm grateful for the fact that my dad was there at my mum's funeral, and if ever there's a day to be able to talk about it, it's International Men's Day.
Yep. Well, now we know. Now we know where you got your comic legs from.
Yeah.
It was Dad.
Comic timing. He nailed that one.
Dude, conga. Right.
So, if you want to get involved in the message boards, the YouTube link's up on the thing now. Let's have a look. Mark says, "Fair play to your father, Steve, fair play." Exactly. I mean, but the problem is now, if ever I go to a funeral, I'm not going to say it out loud, but I'm going to want to say it out loud.
You can say it at my funeral.
But no one will have been watching this show, so they won't know why. Like, what's wrong with Steve?
What's a conga? Let's see. What else have we got there? What is this? One thing about Randy Roller Coaster, your penis can't enjoy the ride if it isn't big enough.
It's got to be this big to ride. Oh, dear.
Just wait. It'll get there.
James says, "I have to pause due to baby duties. Good show so far." What? You missed the International Men's Day stuff? Oh, that's a shame. That was that's the good stuff. Nobody but me quotes us and says, "Us men, we do tend to kill ourselves an awful lot." Love it. Beautifully to listen to Steve and Eric. Thank you. Yeah, I think we're just saying it as it is.
It is.
This is the day to talk about it.
And 2 comedians know how to die.
We sure do.
Not doing it as much as we used to. Conga line for all wearing flat caps.
That's what we needed.
Yeah, a little flat cap action going on. It's good. All right, there we go. Is there anything else?
I'm trying to see. We've got more messages on other channels.
Check the channels. Do keep sending us messages.
We've done it again. I've not checked Twitter all the way through this. We have it on the screen.
Yeah. Hopefully you've got it handy. I don't know if I have anything.
I'll put the Ko-fi up while we're doing that.
While we're doing that. Well, Steve's looking for any further comments. Drop us a drink if you can. And we're back on Tuesday. It's going to be good. And then this is the last weekend of lockdown, apparently, and then we'll be back gigging, right?
Yeah.
No, is it next weekend? Wait, I've lost track of time now. We've got 2 weekends left.
Next weekend, yeah.
And then back gigging.
And there might be, I'm going to say ahead of time, there might be slightly fewer pre-recorded bits because I'm going to be busy for the next 2 weeks. And I know I can't, I won't be allowed to give any details away of what I'm doing, but my jury duties come up. I have prepared.
You just told
for
us
it.
what you're doing.
No, but I won't be, like tomorrow, next week on the show, you can't say, how's the court case going? I'm not allowed to, I've learned I'm not allowed to say that.
I think the good thing about our viewership levels is that it would be a safe space.
It would be, wouldn't it? And I've done my research, so I've watched Rumpole of the Bailey, Perry Mason, a lot of Ally McBeal.
Yep.
And I've now realised what I'll do next week is at some point during the trial, I'll just stand up and shout, "Objection!" And the judge will say, "You can't object, you're a member of the jury." And I'll say, "Withdrawn." And I'll just keep doing that for a while. Overruled. You can't overrule, you're a member of the jury. Withdrawn.
What you really should do is watch My Cousin Vinny.
Apparently that's where all the good info comes from.
That's where all the good info's at. So there we go. All right. So next week, Steve's in jury duty. So we'll see what kind of case you get that could affect the mood of the show.
Could you imagine if on Tuesday I'd be like, I can't really talk about it, and then as you're doing your comedy bits, there's just me staring like, sorry. Yeah, and I've seen some things.
Yep. See if it comes out. There we go. Right. So join us next Tuesday at 9:00. The full episodes go up with footnotes of timings by tomorrow morning. So please tell people about it. You can share the show on there and watch the clips of us. Follow us on the social medias. If you want to check out my new podcast called American Exchange, where I chat to American political figures, just recorded a new interview with Anita Kumar, who's a White House journalist for Politico. And she's the very model of a very balanced journalist. I tried to get her to dish on Trump, and she's like, "Oh, he's a little bit controversial." I'm like, come on. So, but it's a really interesting conversation. So please check that out as well.
Nice. I would plug stuff, but nothing to plug.
If you were on the radio this week, are you on the radio tomorrow?
No, I've only been doing Monday to Thursdays, and so I've been on Time FM. There are no podcasts. We didn't make any podcasts. I was only doing it for 3 weeks. But on the last 3 weeks of radio, if you go and check out my social media, there is a phone call that Steve from Upney called in and had. It's so I love it. For years when I used to do an actual radio show there, he used to call in every day, and I don't know why, because he didn't get my jokes. Like in the past, I did an entire show about wanting to buy a new mattress because I just moved into this place. And I said, I need a very firm mattress because of my back and I weigh a lot, so I need a firm mattress. And he called in saying, "Hello, it's Steve from Abney. You should get a water mattress. You read about water, you should get a water mattress." And I said, "Well, I could, but I need a firm mattress, so I could only buy one if I live in a hard water area." And he went, "Yep, no, that's true. Yep, so you need a water mattress," just straight through it. He called in once and he talked about, there's a news story that Tom Jones had never completed high school. But he went on to do really well, and I did the classic, "Well, it's not unusual." And he went, "No, I suppose a lot of people do actually." Brilliant. He didn't get a single. And the best one he ever did, and it's not the one that's on my social media, he did another one this week, but back when Ed Balls was on Strictly Come Dancing, Steve from Upney called up to tell me about a story of a guy who got thrown out of a nightclub. "Hello, Steve from Upney, you see this in the news? A man got thrown out of a nightclub." And I said, "Is it Ed Balls?" And he went, "No, it's perfectly true." So all those old calls are on my SoundCloud, but on Twitter you can see the more recent one. So that's all I've got to plug.
There we go. Well, yeah, I guess that's it. So thank you very much for watching. Please join us again next week. And I've been Eric McElroy.
I've been Stephen Allen. Till next week.
See you then. Bye.